Mr. President, how are you feeling, sir? How are you feeling, sir?
I'm great. I like tonight. How you doing, Joe?
Smoking Joe's keeping the hoax alive, but his team's not feeling it. They're freaking out that Biden's library isn't going to open when he's alive to see it, and may never open. Joe's own donors say they're not giving him a dime. He even lowered his speaking fee, but after all these books came out, no one wants to book him. Here's why.
It is a scandal.
Yes.
It is without question, and maybe even worse than Watergate in some ways.
Right.
Because Richard Nixon was in control of his faculties when he wasn't drinking.
Worse than Watergate was a running joke during the first Trump term, but after Biden, now the joke's on them. If Biden-gate is worse than Watergate, Tapper's one of the plumbers. Jake's confessing to a crime, but won't apologize.
Do you feel that you owe the American people an apology for slightly dropping the ball with this, and not just to Lara Trump?
I feel like I owe the American people an acknowledgement that I wish I had covered the story better.
Why does Tapper sound so lawyered up? I'm not going to apologize, but I'll give an acknowledgement? Maybe he's hearing what we're hearing. The Biden investigation's off to a strong start. Jake's defense? Being stupid isn't a crime.
I think that we need to be skeptical of everything that we are told by people in power. And I mean, that obviously should be the mantra of being a journalist to begin with. If your mother tells you she loves you, get a second source. But we just need to remember that. Like, politicians lie. White Houses lie. Power is an aphrodisiac. And we just need to all remember that and not take at face value anything that we're told.
Jake's been in the business for 3 decades, and now he notices politicians lie. He knew the whole time politicians lie. He just went along with hiding Biden's. But let's just go along with this for argument's sake, okay? Jake just admitted he missed the biggest story of the century. Tapper basically admitted he's blind because Watergate was a secret. There was no video. Reporters had to crack it. Bidengate was on TV every day. Aren't news anchors supposed to know the news before the public? Tapper is saying the public knew the news before he did. Journalists can't be the last ones to know the scandal. That means they're not a journalist. Tapper should resign. If you missed Bidengate or you covered it up, what else did you miss? What else did you cover up? The border? Epstein, the lab leak? Democrats are like the suspect that goes, yep, officer, you got me, I did it, and thinks he's just confessing to a single crime. And there's like a dozen other crimes with his fingerprints all over them that detectives can easily connect to him. Politicians lie, right, Tapper? So the Afghan pullout wasn't Trump's fault. The Democrats probably were just importing new voters over the border. And maybe Trump didn't sleep with Stormy. This is only the beginning. The FBI is opening up an investigation into the cover-ups of the White House cocaine, the DNC pipe bomb, and the Supreme Court abortion leaks. The last 4 years, one big cover-up. Comer told us the other night that he's already subpoenaed Biden aides to come in for depositions, and he'll be issuing subpoenas to Hunter and Dr. Jill, too. Sometimes when you confess to a crime, you feel better. A big weight is taken off your shoulders. Liberal philosopher Sam Harris said, I'd destroy democracy to beat Trump.
Even that is preferable to me and to, I think, many Democrats than having someone who we consider to be genuinely evil, genuinely 100% purposed to serving himself in the office of the presidency. I would rather have a president in a coma where the duties of the presidency are executed by a committee of just normal people.
So the conspiracy that Biden wasn't running the country wasn't a conspiracy. It was their strategy. It's all coming out. Democrats wanted a brain-dead president with a shadow government and campaigned on saving democracy. If Joe had somehow won, unknown Biden handlers would have run the country. They would have controlled the Situation Room while Biden was taking a nap. Unnamed Biden aides say this: Biden just had to win, and then he could disappear for 4 years. He'd only have to show proof of life every once in a while. His aides could pick up the slack. And they just told you Trump was Hitler to justify beating him by any means necessary. That means lying to you, arresting him, maybe even shooting him. Because if they covered up Biden, why wouldn't they cover up Butler? This was a shady crew.
But these aides were not even Senate-confirmed aides. These are White House aides. These were unelected people. And one of the things that really, I think, comes out in our reporting here is that if you believe, and I think a lot of these people do sincerely believe that Donald Trump was and is an existential threat to democracy, you can rationalize anything, including sometimes doing undemocratic things, which I think is what this person is talking about.
Lying to themselves, they never thought Trump was a threat to democracy. He was just a threat to win back the White House. If Trump won, he'd catch him lying and stealing. There's motive. Trump wasn't running on anything radical. Drill, baby, drill. Close the border. Men and women are different. It's common sense. Meanwhile, Democrats are making no sense. Jazzy Crockett says, my president's not brain dead, yours is.
It is time for Republicans to start calling him out and start questioning his mental acuity and whether or not he is equipped to serve mentally.
The New York Times just reported this. If politicians were animals, Democrats wouldn't last one day in the wild. The paper interviewed over 200 swing state voters, and they said Republicans are apex predators, like lions, tigers, and sharks, beasts that take what they want when they want it. Democrats are typically tagged as tortoises, slugs, or sloths, slow, plodding, passive. They're deer in the headlights. Debbie Diamondhand says, don't call me an animal.
I'm not focused on the animals that some New York Times reporter compares the political parties to. My constituents are human beings. So I'm focused on the humans I represent, not, animal comparisons.
I will tell you, it was the voters who were making the comparison with animals, and this was a focus group. It wasn't the New York Times reporter coming up with these labels. This was a Democratic-led focus group.
Democrats are on a suicide mission just to stop Trump. The Obama pod bros are freaking out that they're on the wrong side of history.
Democrats are in a huge bit of trouble. Like this, there's no way to look at this without recognizing the massive scale of our problems. We are losing ground with the fastest growing parts of the population, younger voters and Latinos. And that is a party that can win an election every once in a while if the stars align correctly. But that is a party that will look a lot like the Democratic Party from the 60s until the 90s.
And
we maybe can win when Nixon gets impeached and when Nixon resigns, and we win that election, and then we lose for the next 12 years.
Fine wine gets better with age, not the Biden scandal. Every day it gets worse, every day. They've just confessed to the biggest scandal in American history. The whole party's got blood on their hands. And now they're telling us their motive and their intent. They called the Trump trial the trial of the century. Well, they're about to go on trial. But this time, the jury is the whole country.